Hey, what's up? It's your man, Greg Merriweather. Welcome to the Unmitigated Truth. It's an exciting time, man. It's election time. A lot going on. This is going to be an exciting show. This is a brother, man, who's full of energy. I reached out to the brothers, like, man, you ain't even respond. The brother's response was, man, I'm out knocking doors, man. I got things to do. So this should be an exciting show, man. So listen, it's noon. I know you're probably on your lunch break. So listen, let's sit back, relax, let's get ready, and welcome to the Unmitigated Truth. Let's go. Man, good afternoon, Indianapolis. It's 12 o'clock, and you already know what time it is. Welcome to the Unmitigated Truth, where we don't dance around issues. We address them head on. Today, we are diving into one of the most important races in our city, Indiana State House District 95. The race features the incumbent, John Bartlett, City County Councilor Keith Graves, and today's guest, a man looking to disrupt the status quo, Tyrrell Giles. This isn't about politics. This is about leadership, accountability, and the future of our communities. Let's get in it. Joining me right now, my brother Tyrrell Giles. Man, what's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on the show. I've been a long time watcher of the show. You know, you always keep it hot and spicy. Love that you bring the right, bring it to the community, and also bringing attention to what I think is the most important race in the city as well, House District 95, because the East Side has always been near and dear to me, from Emerson all the way to Carroll Road, from 38th Street to 56th Street. Those are the folks at House District 95 that I'm looking forward to representing.
Absolutely, brother. Well, thank you for being here. I'm excited about today's show. I'm definitely looking forward to this conversation because you and I, we talk. I mean, we've had some conversations. We've had some conversations. We not only had some conversations, y'all. We've had some tough conversations. But when it's all said and done, it's all
Yeah.
in love because I believe that when we break it all the way down, we're about the same thing. So before we talk policy, let's talk about the man who is Tyrrell Giles.
Well, like I said, my name is Tyrrell Giles. My nickname is Quest. I'm putting that on the ballot as well, because that nickname is a short for questions. I'm a longtime member of a motorcycle club, and they gave me that name. But I've always been an inquisitive person. I've always wanted to get to the bottom. Um, I've always been a person that I've always had an interest in people all my
Mhm.
life. My grandmother told me when I was younger, back in the day when the Beirut, it's kind of fitting how that's going on now. Back in the 80s, I was concerned about watching kids throwing rocks at military. I always knew. I came up through the 90s. I gravitated to the X Clan. I gravitated to reading books about Marcus Garvey and understanding who I was in my community and what it meant to that we were special, that I belonged to a special tribe of people, African Americans, and that I've always had a feeling of wanting to help us all do better. I'm a poverty fighter. I've had many different, all my careers have been focused on fighting poverty. I'm not interested. I have a hard time staying interested in things that don't lead my people forward, and fight poverty and help a better life for all Americans. I guess I'm kind of a sucker. I still kind of believe in the American dream. I really do. And I do believe that there's some discipline and some different ways that you can do in your life to get a little piece of that apple.
No doubt. So let's get to it. So at what moment made you say, I'm not just going to complain per se,
Mhm.
I'm going to run?
So it really had to do with Senate Bill Act 1,
Mhm.
which in 2025, as a 10-year city councilman for the city of Lawrence, I've been the council president, I've been the city's financial chair here in I think 6 years of my tenure, 5 or 6 years of my tenure, and I realized that that bill was going to make it harder for cities like Lawrence, other government agencies like the trustee's office, schools. It was going to affect us all across the board, and I wanted to be at the table. I'm a strong believer that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so I said, I really want to get in the State House and ensure that the city of Lawrence and Lawrence Township services, that we get our fair share of what's needed from state to the local level. I believe politics are local, and I'm concerned about HD 95 and where I live at and where the people in my community.
Okay, so when we think about this, I know how long have you been with the Lawrence Council?
I've been on the Lawrence Council since 2015. And before that, I served 4 years on the Lawrence Water Utility Board as well.
Okay. So when people look back and they say, okay, 2015, a little over 10 years, was that right? 11? And they say, hey, you've got a new mayor, you've had a new mayor, you've got a police chief, you've had a first black mayor of Indy, black police chief. And they say, they look at just kind of some of the things that have happened in Lawrence. How do you look to that and say, is it too soon? Have you addressed, pretty much what's in Lawrence? Do you think you've put a footprint in Lawrence enough so to make you say, it's ready to go to the next level?
Oh, it's okay. I think I kind of broke a little bit, but was it too soon for me to move on to the next level? Sure. I tell you, that was one of the reasons why I kept running. There's a young man that is very involved in the Democratic Party. He's extremely capable, and I was so excited. That was the reason why I decided that I felt like the timing was right, because the first time I didn't know anyone that was interested in replacing me or would be capable of replacing me on the Lawrence Council that would do a good job. And so there's a young man out there that would run in case. But for me, I believe that our administration out there, they have goals. Deb has her own goal. She has goals that she has for the city. She has an agenda and a vision for the city. And I think that she is more than capable of putting the right people in place to achieve her goal. I think that I have I'm interested in so many different things. Like I said, class, I'm very inquisitive. I have a lot of interest on things that are bigger than just the municipality, even though that is the core of my focus. And so the State House gives me an opportunity to learn and figure out how I can make an impact on different touch points in our lives.
Real quick, are you on the phone? If you could turn maybe the Wi-Fi on that, because you're kind of breaking. I don't know if you are or not. If you are, yeah, that probably would help.
Yeah, I'm not on the phone. I'm on my computer in the basement. Okay. I don't know if the basement.
Yeah, the basement's probably doing something to you, but it's okay. We'll get through it. You cool?
I'm in my basement office. I'm so sorry about that.
All right. Do you think
if behind me got a hustle and my granny might execute? So,
okay.
Stay motivated.
Okay. So you're stepping into a race against an incumbent, which is Representative Bartlett, and then a sitting councilman.
Should I try to move upstairs, Greg? Should I try to move?
If you can, that'd be great. We can pause it. We can wait on you. How long is it gonna take you?
Okay.
All right. I got you.
Okay, let's try that.
I'll cover you in the interim. All right.
Cool. Just shoot up the steps. 2 minutes.
All right, cool. All right, really quickly, we're gonna take time and let him get to a better space. I typically ask a guest, when they are in a space, they get in a space where it's very, very clear, so that we can do this. As y'all can see today, I've chosen to change a little. So don't judge me. I don't have anywhere to go. I was just like, Yeah. Today I'm gonna try to throw something on that may be able to. Hey, Miss Georgia, how you doing? All right, let's see where Brother Giles is to see if he's good. All right, he looks settled. All right, you good?
Yes, sir. I'm sitting here.
I see somebody bringing out the
somewhere
table.
to sit down. All right, I'm here on the east side, man. We're gonna make it do what it do.
Okay.
All right.
All right, we see you. You good? All right, let's get it. Okay, so you're running against an incumbent. You've got Representative Bartlett, then you've got a sitting councilman, just as yourself, as Keith Graves. Why you and why now?
So I think the big issue for me to why not is because I'm gonna prioritize the issues in the district. I'm not. I think it's time for someone who represents us down at the State House for the things that matter the most. I don't have a personal agenda. I don't have a belief system that I know what's best for district. I'm knocking doors, talking to folks, and asking them what the priorities are of the district, and I will continue to do that, and then take and study their issues over the summer, do the summer studies, and propose the type of legislation that I believe that will move the city forward. And move. When I say the city, I'm sorry, I keep that's my councilman talking, but moving the district forward. So I think now, I believe that Representative Bartlett is not focused on the issues and leading on the issues that matter the most. I'm not saying that he's not voting on some of the Democratic platform, but I want to be an out front vocal voice for that. I also believe that my small business, I've been a small business owner since 2010. I'm a result driven. I'm not a seat filler. I'm not a status quo guy. I'm going to sure bringing home some type of bacon, to the district. And I'm going to stand in front of this district every 2 years and tell them what I've done and ask for my job, and really put it in front of the voters. I hope to use influence out of the job. I know at times as a legislator, it's difficult maybe to move policy forward, but I also believe that you can use the influence of the office to also work with other civic leaders to bring results to the district.
Okay. So when you think about District 95, where has leadership in District 95 fallen short? And please, if you can, be specific so that the listeners can understand, or the listeners of District 95 can say, oh, this is where we're short.
I'll because what's very interesting about the district is since the early 90s, I don't want to give an exact date, but since the early 90s, we've only had 2 representatives. Mm-hmm. And Representative Bartlett was Miss Representative Dickinson campaign. Very proud of that. And he tells us that she gave him the office, and he's been serving since 2007. So whatever failures that anyone believes the district has had, they only lie at those feet, because no one else has had an opportunity to bring any ideas, bring any voice, or bring any difference. And so I believe that the district has also grown and changed. This district, I would question that. I'm sure there's communities in this district that Representative Bartlett doesn't even know exist.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
And they're not, and the people in those districts, in those neighborhoods, are different than the folks that he's been representing for the last 20 years.
So you think change has taken place under his like leadership, no one,
but he hasn't talking about all the Hispanics in our community. I'm reaching out to the Hispanic community. I'm walking and knocking his. I'm sorry to catch you, Greg.
I said that so change has taken place in the community, whether it be it would be I would guess demographically, you've got different people in the community. So are you saying that Representative Bartlett is not aware of the change that is taking place and how he has to pretty much operate with those constituents?
I'm saying that I believe that there is there are whole neighborhood in this community that are new, with new families facing different challenges that are in the workforce every day. I'm saying that there has been a significant demographic change in this community. And I believe that I'm the right person to make sure that they're heard at the State House. When I listen to Representative Bartlett, he works on a very, very awesome cause of trafficking. And he works I want to work on the issues that I hear at the doors.
Okay. It kind of broke up, but I think we got it. So it's okay.
Sorry.
So you say
we're not good reception here.
Do you I'm gonna ask you this. Do you have your you got your phone with you? We can make it work.
Run downstairs with my phone in the office. I was down in my office and want to have someone go get it.
Now wherever you are
I'm in
right
the
now,
kitchen
sounds
now,
good.
man, sitting right up under the internet.
That sounds a little better.
So
stay there. Stay there.
Okay, well I'll stay right here, kitchen out here. And actually,
Okay.
this is good. You guys, my wife will.
Yeah, it's a little better. So let's talk about the issues in District 95. Let's talk about the people. What are the top 3 issues facing District 95 right now?
Yes. 95. So the top issues that we find in District 95 is, of course, the younger families are concerned that our education stays the way it is. Lawrence Township Schools does an excellent job educating our folks, and move Lawrence Township still because of the education. So they want to talk about making sure that education stays similar, and they don't want any of the different things that we've been hearing about in other in other townships and stuff. So that's been a conversation at the door. School teachers and educators who live in Lawrence. Another issue at the door has been, even though there's supposed to have been a property tax cut, people are still dealing with the rising health property tax increases. And because of the age, because property tax is coming out, when you get out to the community, I have been sitting down with seniors in the community, explaining to them their property tax bills. And a couple of folks, I'm showing them where they've turned 65 and they're not taking their credit. So you're supposed to, at 65 and up, you're supposed to not have an increase for 2%. Well, I had folks who didn't understand that, didn't file for those different things, and now they're seeing one lady in particular, her in 2024 property taxes was $711, and now in 2020 she just got a bill just shy of $1,200. And so, but you only know those things when you're in the community, talking to people, working with people at their doors. So that's the issue. Another big issue is roads. We need more road funding, need a better road equation from the state for roads. Mm-hmm. In County, and a lot of on the east side, as you can imagine, have been neglected. And so I went to the State House and figure out what the funding is. No one's talking about that. I'm going to the town meetings, and no one's talking about the simple things. Hey, I want to let people know I'm a regular everyday guy. I believe in, if you use my football analogy, I believe in tackling and blocking before you do elaborate plays.
Okay.
And so I want to, so they're that. Of course, people are concerned about, gun safety. Gun safety laws have come up. Some of the folks are concerned about that. They're also concerned about our environment, air quality, water quality. Issues with the environment have come up. And of course, affordability.
Sure.
Everybody is concerned about the rising costs, and a lot of folks are also concerned about the things that are going on nationally.
Did you get your phone? If you did, go to that same email, hit that same thing, try to log on. You can stay on while you do it. So we can make sure. Yeah, we just want to make sure everybody can hear you clearly, because this is vital information, because we want to make sure that anybody who's listening, and especially if they're in your district, we just want to make sure that they get the information clearly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to log in the phone here.
Okay. We'll be patient. It's cool. We got time. We got a little time. But no, I definitely okay. There you go. I'm gonna kick you off of here, and then I'm gonna go with your phone.
Yeah.
All right. Now line your phone up a little so we can see you better, and then I'll bring you on. You could probably sit it on your computer. There you go.
Let me sit up a little bit.
There we go.
All right.
Now that is excellent.
Okay. Thank you. Phone works better. All right.
Much better. All right. So when you said those issues, you talked about the roads, you talked about affordability, you talked about a lot of different things. What would you say to those who say, a lot of those things could be dealt with on a council level, as opposed to on a state rep level? What's your rebuttal to that?
Well, my rebuttal to that is funding. Is that money? That's what I said. Why I ran this is the Senate Act Bill of 2025 reduces the money that comes to cities and comes to the local level, and so they got to fix that. If it doesn't get fixed, you're gonna see in 2028 there are going to be some huge layoffs, cuts, just things that as a city councilman I saw coming. I said, whoa, maybe there's not enough folks who started as city councilmen at the State House. Some of the things that happened, how did you not foresee this? And then they're going to try to shift it back on the cities to try to put us to increase the local income tax, right? And so those things, you need someone at the table. When I said if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So it's all about money. We pay the taxes and then they give it back to us, right? So it's all about how the cut happens. So everything trickles down. And of course, I have tons of ideas on progressive laws that I would like to get passed. But I know that fight, is a heck of a fight in the Indiana State House.
Sure.
That's where I mean by we got to get it from the state level and advocate for our district and advocate for our neighborhoods up top.
So when people say, they look like, I saw a Mirror Indy article and it just talked about, legislation and things getting pushed and passed. And they talked about State Rep Bartlett. And they said, hey, he's got one thing done, one thing passed. I think the misconception is how easy or how difficult it is to even do that. So when we look at statistics, from a statistics perspective, and we know just how difficult it is for people like you and I to go into those places where they are outnumbered by a long shot, and say just how difficult it is to get things done. How do you believe, or why do you believe that it will be any different for you to go in there and be able to get more done than Representative Bartlett has gotten done over these years, knowing the opposition that he's faced?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is answer this question this way. Okay. And then I'm gonna get a little. It's gonna get a little. I'm gonna get a little bit in it with you. All right. The first answer is I believe that it's always been that way for anyone that has achieved anything in the state of Indiana. I've never walked in a room in the state of Indiana and got a piece of something that I wasn't the only Black or the only person. I've always been the underdog. I've never, to be honest with you, if you look at me on paper, I shouldn't be here. But I always am. I'm always in the room. I believe that, I tell you, my mother, my father, my aunts, and everybody who pretty much raised me worked at General Motors in the UAW. And one thing about it, I love the work. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. But the great thing about that job, it set you up where if you followed the rules, you won't fall, you wouldn't fail. Because as long as you didn't, do something crazy with your money or whatever, but if you stayed in line, you would be successful. Well, in today's world, I've had to create. I said, it's kind of like, I tell my business folks, it's like I'm cooking a pot of a gumbo or a pot of soup. I have to learn what the right ingredients are, the right relationships, how much of what, when to push, when to let off to get a deal done. And I get deals done every day. Hey, I've expanded my business, not trying to brag, but this is what you talk about yourself and this stuff. We have an office here in Indiana. We have an office in Vegas, and we have an office in California. We have licenses in California and Vegas. Everyone told me I wouldn't be able to do that, but we just got done doing the Super Bowl. We just got done doing the All-Star game. We're going to do the FIFA. And I'm a guy just doing it, and I save my money. I tell people all the time, I tell young men, I ain't never sold drugs. I ain't never done none of that. I started my business by going to shoe carnival. I was a teenage father. The odds have always been stacked against me. One of the reasons that I'm running against Mr. Bartlett is because I know no one's going to give me anything. So I also know how, I will say this, my most successful contract I had for 7 years with a major corporation. I'm going to tell you the largest corporation in the state of Indiana, and it's not Eli Lilly. And I had that contract for most of the years, and they didn't even know I was Black. They didn't know it. Okay. And so I know how to win from the bottom. I know how to send the right people, turn the right thing. And I've always had to do that. When I moved here, I moved to Southport. I lived on the South Side, one of the onlys. And so that's why it's and because of that diverse background, I have always been able to find a common ground with people with different backgrounds than me. And I'm not afraid of anyone. I've never met a stranger. I'm not intimidated by anyone's status, who they are. And I'm also never, ever compromise who I am. I walk into every room as myself.
And when you say you walk in as yourself, who is that? As far as, when you say that, what does that mean? I have an answer for that for me, but I want to hear the answer that you have for you.
I don't change. I don't code shift. I don't, because if I like different things, I like it.
Okay.
Like I like 90s alternative rock. Right? I like it. Okay. You know what I mean? So, I was upset when Pearl Jam doesn't go on tour, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I'm a boy from East Oakland, son of an auto worker. I'm loud. Some people think I'm uncouth. I speak my mind. But I'm caring. I'm compassionate. I live in this community. Tyrrell is just, I try to be me, man, because that's all I can be. My grandfather used, if you tell one lie, you got to tell another.
That's real.
And that's why, to be honest with you, my whole life has been based on, like I said, grind, hustle, execution, and a thriving to be a better person and never taking no as the first. When somebody tells me no, I just keep working.
I'm gonna ask this because you kind of got there. I'm hearing your background, and then I'm hearing Oakland.
Yeah,
which I think I really think highly of Oakland because I think about the Panthers and all that kind of stuff. But then I think, okay, you come from there, you get here, and then I think that Indiana just has a different thing about it from my perspective. Do you think you're better equipped? And this is just me asking this because I feel compelled to. When you look at the State House and you realize what's in it, and you realize when you look at that and you realize what's in it, you realize the opposition. You see that it's predominantly white men. You realize that the rules that are being created, the laws that are being passed, kind of benefit those who are of a lighter hue. Do you believe that you are better equipped to deal with that group than Rep Bartlett?
Yes,
And why?
Because I've been going to school with them all my life. So when I was in Oakland, my grandfather drove me up the hill every day. When I moved here in 1992, I moved to Stop 11, and I moved to Southport Road. And my mother bought a house at Stop 11 in Sherman. And then I raised my family on. So I didn't move to the East Side until 2008 or so. I lived on the South Side. At one point in my life, I had more white male friends here in Indiana than black. Not until I joined 317 Riders MC did I really get a bunch of black male friends. I knew the guys that I went to school with, high school, played football with, because I had kids really young and I had put my ex-wife through college and stuff. I went to work. I was focused. I worked 3-4 jobs and was focused on raising my children. So, you know, I was at Q95 Rock the Boat at Lake Monroe in the 90s. I tell my best friend Tic Tac all the time, I was going to the track when you were still in Chicago. You know what I mean? And so, so I know how to be the only, and all my Southport friends, they know this. These are facts, man.
Yeah. When did you come out of Southport?
I graduated from Southport in 1996. I was there from 1992 to 1996.
So you were after William Moore and Marlon Fleming.
Yeah. They were 1990. Yeah, I was after them. I was there with Leon Northern and those guys.
That's my guy, William Moore.
Yeah, I knew you were friends. That's why I threw that name out there.
so when you say that, let's say on the flip side. So on the flip side, I love your history. So on the flip side, how do you get or garner the trust? I know you've been over here, and people who are listening say, okay, that's cool. I see that you can go over there and talk the talk. Where do I fit in? Where does this community that you'll have, what does that look like for them? Because
it's always
a lot of times we get a lot of people who can speak the language on the other side, but typically what happens is they get over there and they forget. So explain that to us.
I never forget. Well, first of all, I so it's funny. All right, that's good. That's good. So let me see how I answer, because you maybe have to realize I'm on the pocket. So, if I wanted to forget us, I wouldn't be here on the phone with you.
Preach. Okay.
If I wanted to be that other guy, I would have never been the guy that's worked and ran workforce development programs at Christamore House, worked at Work One for 8-9 years, worked at Forest Manor Multi-Service Center, I've worked at all the different human service jobs that you could have before I decided that I had to try to get my own business. What sparked me to start my business was I was working for a lady. We did some welding training. The training was not good. I took a bunch of brothers up to work in Logansport, Indiana, to a company called Dilley Mechanical, and they laughed us out the building. I came back. I went to Sutton Garden Company. I threw myself on Pat Garden's desk and begged him to train my men. And I had the connections with Employee Indy, and I started Hoosier Occupational Training with a couple dollars in my pocket, and I got the respect. And I still have a partnership and a relationship with Sutton Garden Company to this day. And that was because I wanted my men to get, people in my community to get good jobs. I felt mortified. I'm all about the power of work, man. I mean, I've been a black man all my life. That's what tribe I belong to. So, and I don't have any questions of that. When my business is up or my business is down, I still live in 46th and Shadeland.
Sure.
Because I like to go across the street, get a haircut, get the food I like. I've lived in communities that weren't. Here's something, I'll share this with you and not talking to it, move to the next question. But I tell folks, I will never live in a community again that when someone builds a business, they're not building it with me in mind as a customer.
Noted. I like that. All right, let's move on. Education and youth. Our kids are either our future or our failure. What's your plan for education?
I want all kids. First of all, I'm a product of public schools myself. I'm a latchkey kid. So I'm a strong believer in resources being available to all kids, not just Black, brown kids, and not just kids of lower income. Sometimes there's kids that are middle class kids, but their parents don't understand all the things that a child needs. Sometimes people think, okay, I'm clothing this child. So I really do believe that public education needs to be holistic, and we need to invest in public education as much as we can to ensure that young people have a start. I'm really, really big on pre-K. I would really like to see more programs for children before the ages of, before third, fourth grade. I feel like so many of our young people fall behind. I've seen it in my own family. I've had heated arguments with my own relatives about me not feeling like they're not doing enough for their 4 and 5 and 3-year-old. My 3-year-old, my son, to tell you, I buy my grandkids and I buy them workbooks for Christmas. Everybody else buys them all that junk. And I want them reading ahead, because I know that if you're behind, it's so hard to catch up. And so my efforts will be personally is ensuring that we hold the line on public education and that we invest. I would like to see a bigger investment in pre-K education, primary, elementary education, to ensure that every child gets off a good start and gets a chance to fulfill what they want to be in life.
So there's been a really big push, even on the Senate level, to deal with, we saw the first meeting of IPEC yesterday. So you saw a lot of stuff going on with charter schools, things of that nature. So when we see that it looks like the direction is going, it looks like we're going in a different direction with education. Are you on board? Are you on board with keeping public schools the way they are? Or are we looking more into the charter perspective?
Well, for me, again, there's a lot of things, again, when you're a state rep, I'm not working with too much of anything that's ideal, the way that Tyrrell would want it. And a lot of things have happened way before I get there. And so I'll use one of my favorite Tupac lines. I was given this world, I didn't make it. Okay. So with that being said, I got to do the best I can with the situation at hand.
Sure.
Right? Okay. So I know that in the state of Indiana, they've already passed where the money follows the student. Mm-hmm. Right? So all schools have got to be competitive for students. Right. And it's been so I understanding the ground rules, and I don't understand them all. That's another thing. I look so forward, man, to learning and getting in there and digging and learning all the ground rules and understanding all of that. But back to your question, when it comes to, I believe in local control and elected officials. I don't like a bunch of corporate appointments. Okay. So when that board, that would not be of my liking. But I also am not, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm sure there's some challenges that I may be aware of and not aware of that sparked this solution that maybe I don't necessarily totally see eye to eye, may not totally understand. But I don't believe in taking power from elected officials. And I do 100% believe in folks having local control over their communities and their children. And people that you elect should represent the people and not their own agenda. But when people are appointed, you know how that game goes.
So let's move into crime and community safety. So people are generally concerned about safety. We know that one, it's getting warm. By the time May 5th hits, it'll be a little warmer. And we've had a few bad weekends in the city of Indianapolis. What's your approach to crime from that perspective, from a state rep perspective? What's your approach to crime?
Well, my approach would be to give the professionals crime all the resources that they need to do it. But I also believe that crime is not just police officers or law enforcement. I also believe that there are several different needed prevention, treatment. There's lots of different tools to try to combat crime. And so that's my perspective, is that I'm very open and interested in other models. So not to bring up Oakland again, but here in Indianapolis, we are using an Oakland model, right, that has helped to reduce some crime here. And so I'm a person that supports looking at best practices across the nation. They don't always apply in Indiana because we have a certain culture here, but looking at different things that work. Now, again, talk about idealism that I can't change. I don't care for there's one noticeable thing when I moved to Indiana was there's a gun culture in Indiana that goes across all ages, all races. People in Indiana like their guns.
Okay.
They do. I don't care for them like that. So if it was up to me, we would have never got rid of, you would have to have a license to carry. I don't like the fact, all that stuff. But I understand the people I represent. I understand that when I moved here in the 90s, I was shocked to see my friends' fathers carrying guns. You know what I mean? But that is the culture from Don Guns being on TV. I would like to sell them guns. So, it's sad. I like to hang out. I like to be out. I go to Riverside at times. I ride my motorcycles. But as I get older and stuff, I got to go in when I see these folks carrying these big weapons. And also, it's just crazy to me how many folks have guns. And so, unfortunately, with so many guns out there, you're going to have immature people having guns and things are going to happen. But I'm in full support of doing everything we can to support crime reduction efforts and also giving people safe places to go. Now, as a security guard person and as on a security business, I like to also encourage people. I do believe from a state level that we need to build venues that can host things in our community that are built in a way that lean towards safety. Like, sometimes having just open, festivals and open parks and open stuff, it's hard to control those environments. And so sometimes I think that is something maybe we should look at as well. But
so Anthony Hampton gave a little pushback on the Oakland model, being that he knows David Muhammad. And then when I went to do the study on the science or the changing science of crime prevention, one of the things that I asked when I was at John Jay for that, it was, what's the biggest thing that has changed, or what's the biggest flex for crime prevention or crime reduction? And I asked, was it gentrification? And the answer from the lead statistician was yes. And I think that I personally, this is just me, based on what I've researched, I believe that David Muhammad was able to sell a program because you had a lot of people moving to, is it Redmond? What is it up close to Oakland? It's Red something. And a lot of people move from Oakland to a different place. So, and then when I work,
but I know what you're talking. No, but I don't exactly know I don't know Black people moving to Redwood City like that. I don't know what city, but I know that they're moving to out to God, my brother and them live out there right now. I'm just having a little break, but I do want to talk about gentrification because I it's actually a topic that I want to research and learn more about doing it right, and because it's something that I think is I'm about wealth creation for Blacks, right, and for people in general. And the number one way to create wealth in this country is through home ownership. Is that
which is a huge problem in Indiana, Indianapolis, really across the country. Yeah, but I'm listening.
Right. It's a problem, right? And so I want to work on issues to increase home ownership. One of the reasons that I own a business is because I bought my first home at 21.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And I look at my mother and some of the folks in our family who have been who've benefited. So I share this all the time, is that in my family, it was 7 kids, and then it was even bigger than that as far as cousins and things like that, very close. And my relatives my grandfather really pushed home ownership to his kids young. And for those who were able to do it young, and I'm talking about, these were little houses. This ain't nothing fancy, man. This is nothing, you know what I mean? I always say this story, people think, all right, little houses, man. My mother, I was born in 1978. My mother started working at General Motors in 74. She bought her first car in 77. I was born in 78. She bought her first house in 82. She kept that house and rented it out Section 8 to a friend from high school. Okay? We still own the house today. You took in a house that cost $50,000. Yes, when she bought it, she put it Section 8, from a friend from high school, nothing fancy, you know what I mean? And held on to it. and now the house is worth $700,000-800,000.
Yeah.
And the rent that's getting off Section 8 is why she lives in Geist.
Understood.
Right. And so what I'm saying is I've come to my family here. I've been talking to different people here, and they let mama's house go in Hogville.
Yeah.
The other thing in HD 95, when you talk about gentrification, it's not white people, it's Hispanics.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right. And are those people, they're doing the best they can. I've seen them. I took pictures, Greg. I've taken pictures of houses inside HD 95 where they have taken a very common model home and added front porches to it, took the dormers, made them bigger, and fresh paint, fresh concrete. You know what I mean? And they're making the community, not everybody, but you know what I'm saying, they're making the community look better. So my question in our, when you talk about gentrification in House District 95, I'm not talking about Capitol or all that. I'm talking about in House District 95, I've been walking every neighborhood. Only thing I see is our brown brothers and sisters moving into the city and doing the best they can.
Mm-hmm.
I see everybody in my district doing the best they can with the resources they have, and they're trying to do better. And they're just striving to try to make it one day at a time. And they're looking for a representative that listens to them, that comes to their door. Like another bill that hasn't come up, there's a terrible prescription drug bill that the House just passed that's going to rise the prices of prescription drugs on not on patients and the employer.
Mm.
But nobody else is talking about that. Who Bartlett's not talking about that. I went to a couple other forums where they talked about the worst bills, but I have 70% of the electorate that's going to vote in this primary are over the age of 65.
Yeah.
Okay. What I mean? So those issues that I want to work on at the State House, but I welcome people moving in. And I also welcome, and I want to push young people, instead of running out here getting what they think cute, fancy apartments and spending all this money on that, move into the traditional neighborhood. Consider buying your grandmother's home. Consider, stay here.
Yeah.
And that's why but I also want a representative. House District 95 deserves a representative that's going to work to give them the amenities and give them a reason to stay.
Mm-hmm.
The Northeast Side has always been a middle-class community. We're a hard-working, middle-class community. We still are. There's not a neighborhood in HD 95 that I wouldn't live in today. And that's what I love about this district. You know what's beautiful? Is that you could be just north of 56th Street, and I looked up a house for sale for $1.5 million. And then, a 3-minute drive away, I'm at the corner of, I'm at 38th and Arlington or whatever. This district has a very vast group of people that I look forward to representing.
Sure. So is crime a policing issue or an economic issue?
I've always wanted to solve it as an economic issue. That's why when I was a young man, and Greg, we're around the same age, I got recruited to be a police officer. I was going to the concern clerk, and everybody wanted me to do that, and I didn't do that. I wanted to focus on economic empowerment. I am a believer that in this diaspora experiment, I'm an American Black man, and there's some advantages in being an American that I'm very proud of. I am also patriotic. I tell people, if you travel, if you have the blessing to travel, you'll understand that we have a responsibility to, an opportunity that our fellow brothers from Cuba, Colombia, other parts of the world don't have. And even up here, and even some of our own brothers and sisters, parts of my family's from Georgetown, South Carolina. Going down there, I still had people living on plantations in the 80s when we go down there and visit. And so I believe that economic empowerment is the only fighting chance we got. And it's also, and it's a way to add and build. Wouldn't have to worry about gentrification if we were building and revitalizing our community ourselves.
Yeah.
If we could get, I want to see, as I talk about using this, I want to encourage businessmen to come together and say, hey, there's opportunity over there. The other thing I want to say, so for me, crime is more of an economic issue. It's more of a mental health issue than it is a policing issue. I don't believe in the zookeeper mentality. I don't need no zookeepers. I survived the 90s.
Yeah, same. So let's look at development and displacement. We're seeing development across in Indianapolis. Is District 95 being improved or pushed out?
Improved.
Okay. Can you elaborate?
But not enough development. So I alluded to it earlier. And we're in the middle of a campaign. But there are parts of this district that are very new and very developing. There are cornfields on the eastern part of this district that are no longer cornfields. And so I look at that as positive change. And I'm walking those neighborhoods and I'm seeing, looks like Lawrence Central basketball team and football team gonna be good for a while. I'm seeing some young kids bounce the ball. I'm seeing young families. I stopped to talk to a young brother. He was out playing him and his wife was playing kickball at the end of the cul-de-sac with his kids, man. And I said, man, I just want you to know that I see you. I told him, and I said, I see you and I appreciate you and I love you for being to having this beautiful Black family. And I hope that you continue to make this district your home. So I'm also seeing. So I'm seeing. I believe that in House District 95 we are doing well, but we could do better. But we're not. I see nothing but optimism, in my opinion, in the district, and I feel like this area is worth investment.
So, with that being said, so would it be that you are looking at Representative Bartlett and saying, you know what, you've done some great work, and is it in your opinion it's time to move on? Because you're saying you're seeing some great stuff, but also I guess maybe is this a thing of saying, you know what, you've taken it where it can go and now it's time for new leadership? Is that what you're saying?
Well, Greg, I want to say something like this, and I ain't trying to be rude. Greg, I didn't say I saw some great stuff.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, I didn't say that. Okay. I said I appreciate all the work that he's done because unfortunately he has not been able to move any great stuff.
Okay.
I also believe that he's out of touch. One of the things that he said in a meeting yesterday, I'm just quoting him, that he's working with Todd Rikita to ban roadblocks. He's attributing roadblocks to, and I don't know all what happened to to a young lady in Fishers, but I'm not about censorship. I'm not about like surface answers. I want to dig a little deeper with those questions to get to real rooted solution. Saying I want to work with the AG on roadblocks to a room full of 80-year-old ladies is fear mongering, in my opinion. Okay, I think it's out of touch. Where do you think that the working families that live in the subdivisions are not? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to villainize. And he even said anybody that lets their kid play Roblox, should be criminalized. That's out of touch.
Okay.
Right? That's not the conversation with the families. And so I do believe that it's hard to be in touch with working families when you've been out of the workforce for 20 some odd years.
Okay.
Because when I get retired, I hope when I'm at that age, I could build myself a wall and I ain't got to deal with with all the other stuff that other people are dealing with. Right. And so I want to honor the work he's done. I tell you what else, I did research on this House district. And like I said, HD 95 is just him and Mae Dickinson. But before it was a 3-member district, and Andy Jacobs represented this area at one point in time. The great William Bill Crawford represented this area at one point in time. And so I don't take that lightly.
Okay.
And standing on some great shoulders, but I do think it's time to turn the page. And get out there. Someone that's been to the door. I asked people, well, when's the last time he's been to your door?
And they said
they say they don't even recall him ever coming, or if he has, they don't recall. Right. So, but that's okay but I'm saying I'm trying to. If he is a legend, legends keep playing their old hits. When you pay, love Mays and Frankie Beverly, but we love Mays and Miss Mays. We ain't gonna see Mays, but I did at least, right?
Sure.
I'm trying to make a new Rick. I'm trying to make a new song.
Got you. So how do you protect longtime residents while still growing the area?
Protect them from what, Greg?
How do you protect? How do you say, you know what, I'm going to bring all this development, but I'm protecting the people who are already there?
Okay, so here we go. So when I say all the development, I haven't said about a bunch of development. 1 second, Greg, the story.
No, all good.
Is there's development in certain areas that I want to bring that the neighbors are asking for, and that's Devington Plaza in particular.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is that I want to help them bring what they want there. And what they want there is going to be, we're going to have to use some public dollars to get there. And that takes, I think, a joint effort from the State House as far as bringing dollars in, maybe to change some roads, develop some different things, bring in some sewer, and then also working a good relation. I feel like whoever's the House District 95 rep should have a great relationship with City Hall.
Okay.
Because, and then I'm also talking about turning the page. I got another bigger challenge that I want to work on, and this is a big one, Greg. You're going to maybe chuckle at this one. I'm very disappointed in the voter participation throughout the state, throughout the city, and particularly in House District 95.
Okay.
And so when I'm at the doors talking to folks, and I will continue, is that I believe that we could be a strong, if we exercise our right to vote, we are a strong democratic force that can change elections at all levels in this county. Mm-hmm. And then at that time, we should have a representative that is strong enough, respected enough to express the concerns of the community with whomever that responsibility is with, to get the results that the people want. Okay. Instead of trying to put points on the board or pursuing something that you feel folks should believe in.
Okay. So you're running against two established names. Why should voters choose you?
My name is just as established. Well, I believe that my name is, I've been in office longer than Keith.
Okay. He was off. The question.
You asked it, I gave you the answer, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Right, no, he was in 2019.
Hey, talk your talk. I'm with it.
Right, he's 20, and then also too, I've been serving this community since 1999. Okay. I started at Horizon House before 1033 East Washington Street was started as an AmeriCorps volunteer doing homeless street outreach. Mm-hmm. So I've been serving. This is just another level to serve. I coached I did the kid coaching AAU. I got young men that are firefighters today I've done, in my opinion, it's been my goal to do the things that I feel are age appropriate in leadership. When I was raising kids, it was about, them. Yeah. And then after them, it went to about, hey, I got a chance to start a business. And you know what? While I'm doing that, I can get on this. I can serve my community through the water board. Whilst I was helping candidates, they invited me. Then it went to, wow, I can run for office. So what I'm saying is, this is just for me. It's the next step in service. Mm. You know what I mean? And I've always been there. I used to volunteer at the Compassion Center down on South Shelby Street in the 90s. I was the only Black face in there, and there wasn't no Black folks coming in Garfield Park to get services. Mm. But I saw the poverty and I saw the pain of people from Appalachia and Southern Indiana. And so I worked with them. So it's who I am, man.
What do you bring that they don't? And grit. I love the accolades. But
grit. That's my accolades. Grit. My accolades are low. Grit, okay. Determination, okay. Result driven. Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing. The most important thing I think I bring, my mama installed me. Okay. I don't believe that no one owes me a damn thing. Mm-hmm. Everything in life is earned. So every time you elect me, I'm standing in front of you asking for that job, and I'm going to bring results. And so I really do believe that it's the difference is my ability you got to believe that I'm going to do something different, that I'm going to bring results to you. Do you believe that this energy, this who I am, is it real? And it is. I would tell anyone to check, see what it is. I work hard, man. I try hard. Sure. And I don't take anything. I don't take this work for granted. It's really still. Sometimes I pinch myself to say, hey, man, I've gotten myself at least to the to the arena, and I'm trying to do everything I can to win, and I won't stop that. I would also tell folks to look at my council meetings, ask any of the folks that have worked with me and served with me. If you know anyone in the community, we hire consistently. I employ over 600 to 700 part-time employees a year, many of them living here in the East Side and some of our most vulnerable populations. So I'm saying, ask people. I care for folks, try to help folks. So I just ask. And if here's the other thing too, I'll say this, Greg. If the voters of House District 95 decides that the status quo is good enough for them, I'm okay with that. I wanted to give them a choice and give myself a chance. And I'm right now, when I told you I'm knocking doors, I'm like the old football coach used to tell me, sell out, leave it all between the lines. Sure. And then whatever happens, that was nothing but God's will and purpose.
Okay. I like it. So so this is the section we call rapid fire. And we get through this. It's just really quick answers, as quick as you can answer them. Okay. And then I'll give you the final word so we can get you out of here. Okay. So rapid fire. What's your biggest strength?
Tenacity.
Biggest weakness?
Talk too much.
Okay. Hey, it's honest. What's the first policy you'd push?
Minimum wage increase.
Who or what keeps you grounded?
My family, my children, my wife.
Love it. And what keeps you up at night?
Whichever problem opened up my email that day. It's a new curveball, it seems like, every day.
No doubt. So, Brother Giles, man, listen, man, this is your moment. I want you to look into the camera. I want you to take some time, and I want you to talk to District 95 and tell them why they should vote for you. It's your.
Thank you so much. House District, to the voters of House District 95 and to all the residents of House District 95, my name is Tyrrell Giles. My nickname is Quest. And I am asking for your vote today and throughout this primary season because I believe that if you are looking for someone that's going to show up every day, represent your priorities, your interest, take the time to truly care about all of the different issues that touch our quality of life. If you're looking for someone who is solution-based, if you're looking for someone who's non-judgmental, who understands that it takes all different walks of life to make this beautiful fabric of community we have in House District 95, I believe that I will represent you well. I will work hard to protect our seniors, I'm listening to you, protecting your property, working to decrease the liabilities that you have today because you've already served us, making sure that you're able to live your golden years in your dignity and giving you all the resources that the great state of Indiana you deserve from the great state of Indiana. I'm going to fight for that. I'm going to fight for our families in Lawrence townships and making sure that our schools and our kids are educated at a high level. I want to make sure that our police departments and fire departments are well funded to make sure, but also make sure that everybody is held with dignity and that we are giving you the opportunity to live your life quality. I also want to say that I hear the entrepreneur, the person who's working and trying to start a business on the side because the job they have just ain't enough to make it these days. That was me. I started my business at the kitchen table with $750 and a whole lot of praying, right? I want to create more opportunities for microloans and organizations like Flagship that gave me a loan to help me, start and buy businesses. And those are, those are things that the state could continue to do and to fight for DEI in our state and fight for supplier diversity, right? And making sure that supplier diversity so that we can keep our quality of life. Again, my name is Tyrrell Giles, House District 95. If you're a high frequent voter, I've probably been to your door. I'm on my way back to your door. And this election also is about you. You have a choice this time, and you get to have a choice every 2 years. This election is not about nepotism. It's not about who you know, who they think they owe. This is about you hiring someone that wants the job and wants to serve you. So I won't keep talking and rambling, but thank you so much, House District 95.
My brother, I appreciate it. Listen, everybody, this has been my brother Tyrrell Giles. Hey, brother, May 5th is it's coming up, and I know you'll be outside doing your thing. I'm glad that you are in the race, because I do believe I believe in good competition, and I believe people have the right to have the people they want, or the person that they want to represent them. So, brother, hey, if it's you after May 5th, brother, you got to be back, because we got to talk about the general election.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Greg. I really appreciate it. And I can't believe we didn't talk about data centers, but we'll have to hit that next time.
We'll catch up on it, brother. So,
all right, thank you.
This has been Tyrrell Giles, brother. Thank you, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, brother. All right, man. That was Tyrrell Giles, man. Listen, this is what it's about. I mean, here at the Unmitigated Truth, we really, it's not about, let me tell you something. It's not about beating up candidates. It's about being informative. It's about them having a platform where they can come and they can talk. Of course, I'm going to ask them challenging questions, but at the same time, I want them to be able to utilize a platform to say what it is that they need to say. A lot of times, we watch mainstream news and we get clips, and sometimes we don't get to hear the whole story. But on here, I want to hear their passion. I want to hear what they want to do for people, how they want to change their communities, how they want to uplift people, the whole nine. And here it is. When they say it, here's the other part. Here's what you get. When they say it, you have the opportunity to hold them accountable if elected. Whether you voted for them or not, you have the ability to go back and say, I remember I heard you on the Unmitigated Truth, and these are the things that you said that you wanted to do. These are the things you said you're going to do. Now I'm going to hold you accountable. It's not just about I'm doing the vetting, then we do the voting, then we hold them accountable. So that's what the Unmitigated Truth is about. And of course, it's not just always about elections, because we'll have people on to talk about a whole lot of other stuff as well. So, man, I thank you all. Make sure you share the show. We'll be back next time. We'll have somebody else on, man. We're going to line them all up as much as we can. Hopefully, we'll get the other candidates that are running for House District 95 to come through and talk to us as well. So share the show. It's been your man, 317 all day. Y'all know I love y'all. It's been the Unmitigated Truth. Have a great one.